Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. Today I want to talk to you about damage falloff in Overwatch, what it is, and why it's important. So what is damage falloff? It's when the game will reduce the amount of damage you deal to a target as that target moves further away from you. Now in Overwatch, there are 5 characters that have consistent damage falloff, and there are 4 characters that have an inconsistent damage falloff. I'll explain that a little bit later. Now, the 5 characters that have consistent damage falloff are Mccree, Soldier 76, Tracer, Bastian in both Recon and Sentry mode, and Mei. The 4 characters that have an inconsistent damage falloff are Reaper, Diva, Roadhog, and Torbjorn, specifically his right click. So I could tell you all of the minimum and maximum damages and the distances that are involved with a simple image or a spreadsheet, but I want to do more than that in this video. I want to actually show you in-game demonstrations of damage being taken as the enemy moves further and further away. And the reason for this is because I find a lot of players tend to kind of panic when they start taking damage, even if their enemy is a good amount of distance away. So hopefully by watching this video, you'll be able to better recognize what is and isn't a threat at different distances. Before I made this video, I went and checked a whole bunch of different Overwatch websites and wikis trying to find information on damage and distance. Unfortunately, a lot of these websites had conflicting or just outdated information. So what I did was I just threw all that away and I tested everything in-game myself. So if you see something that looks different on a wiki somewhere, it's because the wiki is outdated. One other thing I want to point out, measuring distance in Overwatch is kinda tricky. So a margin of error of plus or minus 1 meter for all the distances listed in the video. So because only the effective 9 characters have a damage falloff, that means all the other characters can go as far away as they want and still do maximum damage to you, just like this Genji is showing you right now. So as you could see, when he was right up close, he did a certain amount of damage, and then when he was at maximum distance, it did the exact same damage. So how falloff damage works for the 5 main characters it applies to involves 2 things I like to call the falloff start point and the falloff end point. So for the consistent damage falloff, here's how it works. When an enemy target is next to you, they will take the maximum amount of damage your character can deal. As they move away from you, they will eventually hit the falloff start point. From there on, all the damage that you deal will be reduced based on how much distance the target is away from you. And it will gradually lower as the distance increases until they hit the falloff end point. Once they hit the falloff end point, the damage reduction stops. And from that point on, the damage will remain constant regardless of how far away they get from you. Alright, so the first character is going to be Mccree. His maximum damage is 70, minimum is 21. Falloff starts at 20 meters and ends at 41 meters. Soldier 76 has a max damage of 17, minimum of 5. Falloff starts at 30 meters and ends at 51 meters. Next is Tracer. She's a little bit different because she always fires 2 bullets at the same time. But each bullet has a maximum damage of 6, a minimum damage of 1.5. Falloff starts at 10 meters and ends at 21 meters. Bastian suffers Falloff in both of his modes. In Recon mode, max damage is 20, minimum is 6. Falloff starts at 25 meters and ends at 46 meters. Bastian in Sentry mode has a max damage of 15, minimum of 4. Falloff starts at 30 meters and ends at 51 meters. Mei has fall-off damage for her right-click. Max damage is 75, minimum is 22. Fall-off starts at 30 meters and ends at 46 meters. And now for the 4 inconsistent damage fall-off characters. They are Diva, Reaper, Roadhog, and Torbjorn, specifically his right-click. Now, the reason why the 5 previous characters were consistent is because if you know the distance, the damage will always be the same. So if you're shooting at a target that's 35 meters away with Soldier 76, his damage will always be 15. It doesn't matter what direction, what character, his damage at 35 meters will always be 15 per shot. However, inconsistent damage fall-off characters are affected by another mechanic called spread. And this is what happens with a shotgun type weapon. As the weapon fires, instead of shooting a single projectile, it fires many projectiles. And over distance, those projectiles will spread out more and more and more. And as they spread out, less of them will hit the target. If you're really close to the target, all or most of the projectiles will hit. If you're far away, very few or sometimes none of them at all will hit the target. And it's because of this randomness factor in the spread of the attack that you can't perfectly nail down exactly how much damage you're going to do at certain distances. But I did go through and check all of the distances anyways, just to get kind of like a best guess. Basically, if you're at a certain distance, this is roughly how much damage you're going to do. It's also important to note that while I'm doing these tests on the characters with the inconsistent damage fall-off due to spread, I'm playing Roadhog, who has one of the larger hitboxes in the game. So if you're playing as smaller characters, you can expect to be hit by less of the projectiles. So that's going to be about it for this one, guys. I hope that information was interesting and potentially useful to you the next time you're playing as one of these characters or against one of those characters with the damage fall off. Certainly would appreciate it if you hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you're new. There's lots more Overwatch content on the channel. Thank you for watching. Remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.